Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tarnation TV production, also being broadcasted on the Flatout Racing Network. So, yeah, here we are, Thursday. It's the Talladega Challenge. It's RollingThunderGaming.com. We have to make a point to thank the owner who still wants to remain anonymous in season number 68. We forgot to put up the graphic last week. We were bombarded with technical difficulties, so it was an extremely simplified broadcast, but hopefully we've got all the bugs worked out this week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. My name is Blaine Donlan, joined by the Flatout Racing Network crew of Kyle Matthews and Seth Cole.
And Blaine, I have taken the liberty of knocking on every wooden thing in my room, hoping that the technical gremlins stay away here this week. But regardless of the issues we had on our end last week, Kyle, these guys got things started off hot and heavy. We knew that things were going to be aggressive with kind of the everything to gain, nothing to lose mentality. You win that race, you're locked into the playoffs. If you don't win, we have the full 15-race season here. So we know there are going to be 9 regular season races, 8 chances to be able to get those points back that you lost last week. But I asked you last week, and we'll follow it up here into tonight, if we go back to last season, race number 2 was maybe just as aggressive as race number 1. Can we expect to see the same here in season 68?
I definitely think so. If the race 1 was any indicator, I mean, these guys are chomping at the bit to get back to racing. They haven't raced it, before last week. They hadn't raced in a couple of weeks, and they had a couple of all-star races thrown in there, but in terms of overall points racing here in the Talladega Challenge, it's been a while. So they're definitely chomping at the bit and want to get out there and lock down a victory and possibly lock them into the playoffs here later in the season.
Last week, probably just about everybody had the same single agenda, try and park in victory lane. With now points paid out, different drivers knowing their current situations, majority will probably still be gunning for that win, but do you think there are some now that look at themselves maybe outside the top 20 in the point standings and are going to maybe approach tonight's race looking to gain those points back?
I definitely think some of them will. I mean, they'll just kind of really just depends on where they're running late in the going. If they're not in a position to possibly win, they're going to go out there and try to get every point that they can. But if they're in a position to win the race, they're definitely going to go for it.
Tim Knopfsker picking up the victory last week, so he knows he's going to be one of the at least 12 representative in this season's playoffs. I say at least 12 because the top 12 in the point standings, regardless of if they go to victory lane or not, they will be a part of the postseason, and then any driver that is 13th through 20th in points in the regular season with a victory would get in through a wild card spot. But a lot of drivers coming into tonight having run really well in the season opener. A lot of drivers ran into issues, didn't come away with the finishes they were looking for, and will look to bounce back here tonight. It's going to be really interesting to follow. Again, another packed field, 40 cars strong. Drivers again had to be sent home. A number of go or go home qualifiers here, and of course as well, they go on these first 3 races based off the top 30 in the points from last season. At the conclusion of next week, it will come down to who's in the top 30 in points this season. So that's something else for these drivers to have to think about, especially if you came off of a bad run last week. You really cannot afford to put yourself in jeopardy with back-to-back races, maybe finishes outside of the top 30 in the running order.
Yeah, that's something you definitely got to keep in mind here. You talk about the top 30 roll, and we see the number of entries that the Talladega Challenge gets on a weekly basis. I mean, it seems like we're always having knockout qualifying, so that's something these guys definitely do not want to go through. So that's definitely going to be in the back of their mind tonight.
It's also throwback night here for the Talladega Challenge Series. Saw a couple of new throwback schemes in the field tonight, and we'll be sure to feature them during the course of the evening. But they are now gritting up on pit road behind the pace car, and Mark Paglia's Ford draws the long straw this evening in the random qualifying, as his number 28 will start on the pole position. Josh Metallic will start alongside him on the outside of the front row. Denny Carroll's going to be back in row number 2 with Keith Bynum. The rest of the field's going to look a little off-center because yours truly's car ended up random qualifying, drawing the outside of row 3. Kelly Causey going to be on the inside in the 5th position. Row 4 is going to be Craig Hagley alongside of Chuck McClure. Greg Lovell, Tim Anderson going to complete your top 10. Glenn Harris is back in row number 6 with Bobby Farrell. Row 7, Richard Martin and Jeff Crivello. Bob Seminara is back in row 8 with Michael Norman. Milt Surratt, Ken Roberts in row 9. Grant Wesley and John Godfrey will complete your top 20. In row 11, we find Bernie Mobbs alongside of Terry Bombard. Row 12 with Pat McCarskey, Robert Spring. Row 13 with Rodney Sullins and Ulysses Sandoval. Jason Scheck makes up the 14th row with Graham McDonald. And Joe DeSpirito, Billy Elliser will complete your top 30. Greg Palmer, nice to see him back in the field here tonight after his excursions in the Mediterranean. He's back in the 16th row with Tim Nofsker, last week's winner. Mike Mangialardi and Donnie Garrett, row 17. Row 18 finds Cody Lamas and Robert Breedlove. Row 19, Dennis McCarthy, and deep in the field for former champion Jeremy Jeffries. And then Javier Negron, Brian Schilling going to roll off from the 39th position. David Little will make up your 40 cars here tonight. Another 66 laps of racing to determine potentially the second winner on the season. But you know that for Tim Nofsker, if he's in a position here tonight, he would love to double down and win back-to-back races to start off season 68.
No, he very well could. I mean, he kind of snuck up on him last week and took the lead very late in the going and ended up winning the race. So that's a guy you could never count out here.
We hear from drivers just about every time we talk to them in victory lane. These races are so difficult to win, and so it makes the victory all the sweeter. Nofsker coming in with very little pressure since he has that victory from last week to hold on to for the rest of the regular season. One notable name you did not hear us list on the starting lineup, the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
We heard earlier on tonight that he is currently watching our broadcast along with his grandson, Corey. Corey currently in the hospital, sending our best to Corey, and hope you enjoy our coverage here tonight of race number 2, season 68 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. The Ford of Mark Paglia on the inside, the Chevrolet of Josh Metallic on the outside. Flagman's ready, we're ready, green flag is in the air.
Curious if Randy's still watching. Who's Corey rooting for tonight? Okay, so we can't root for the 21, but there's a lot of options out here. I'll keep you posted if I get a response.
Mark Paglia got a good jump right there. He'll get the lead, moves up to the outside right in front of Josh Metallic. That's going to open the door for the 41 of Denny Carroll on the bottom, and he has help from the 00 of Kelly Causey.
Yeah, Mark Paglia, he didn't have a great night. He didn't have a horrible night last week, kind of right in the middle, 19th in points coming into this race. And this is a big opportunity for drivers as well that maybe finished mid-pack to rear of the field. If you can come away, even not with a win tonight, a top 5, a top 10, the points are so close together after only one race completed that you can leapfrog double digits in the point stands. It's not outside the realm of possibility that a driver inside of the top 15 or outside of the top 15 in points coming into tonight with a top 5 could be the points leader, depending on where the rest of the top 15 drivers finish this evening.
And speaking of points, one thing we didn't get to mention last week due to all the technical issues we were having, but I believe the Talladega Challenge has introduced stage racing now.
That is true. You are correct. That was something that we didn't know about until the race had concluded. They have implemented halfway stage points to the top 10 finishers. So at the completion of lap 33, 10 points will be awarded to the driver that crosses the line in first. They go numerically, easy for me to say, down to the 10th position that would receive 1 point at the conclusion. And Kyle, you and I have stressed so much season after season those 3 bonus points for winning a race, that 1 bonus point for just leading a lap. You add in those stage points into the calculations, boy, those could be crucial by the time we get to the conclusion of race 9.
Yeah, so many ways to get bonus points now. You could lead a lap, get a bonus point, lead the most laps, get another bonus point, and then you got the stage points there at halfway through the race. So, yeah, there's a I think that's another reason why we saw the aggression level pick up last week to start the season.
I know the one thing that I don't like about the midway stage racing, it's going to make me have to do a lot more math when we get to the playoffs to figure out who's in, who's out in those elimination races.
I was just thinking the same thing. We always say our prediction is unofficial, and it just makes it even more unofficial this season.
Denny Carroll's gotten his way to the front. Denny's made the playoffs back-to-back seasons. 2 seasons ago, he got in with his first victory on Thursday nights. Last season, he got in through consistency on points. Kelly Causey right behind him. Craig Hagley there in the 82. Saw Craig get a pole position this past Tuesday night in the Rolling Thunder Gaming iRacing Series at Dover. Clocking in 3 thousandths faster than Ron Hagelin. Did not start out the way that he wanted, ended up finishing the race multiple laps down, but looking good here in the 82, currently in third, and right behind him another Ford in the form of Greg Lovell in the 880.
And that 880 car looking to the inside there, inside of Hagley there for the third position. He's got some drafting help from the 8 of Glenn Harris, along with Tim Anderson and our 2-time defending series champion, Chuck McClure, right there in the 17.
Yeah, we mentioned about it being throwback night. We saw the Ryan Newman throwback of Josh Metallic starting the outside of the front row. McClure in that number 17, the Darrell Waltrip throwback, and now drawing to his right rear quarter panel, the Dale Jr. throwback there, the 88 of Grant Wesley making his way up through the field. Grant ended up starting this race back in the 19th position, just now knocking on the door of the top 10.
Then you got the 55 car that was initially a Darrell Waltrip paint scheme, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually threw it back to him back in 2008. So you got the best of both worlds right there for Ken Roberts.
Ken Roberts, of course, a couple of weeks ago, same mod, same racetrack, taking the checkered flag P1 in the Super Speedway All-Star Race for 2026. And looking to build off of a 4th place finish in last week's season opener. So he's been pretty hot here at this racetrack as of late.
Does the All-Star race happen after every season or only once a year?
So I believe it's after every 3 seasons. So most of the time, an entire calendar year will encapsulate 3 seasons.
Right. And
they will run the All-Star race after every 3 seasons. So more than likely, since we ended up having the All-Star race at the conclusion of season 67, their 2027 All-Star race will probably be at the conclusion of season 70.
Wow. That's a pretty big race to win then.
It is.
Once a year, that's a big one.
Yeah, because not only that, I mean, if you end up winning a Super Speedway race between now and that 2027 Super Speedway All-Star race, you're locked in. But if you win the All-Star race, you're locked into the next 2 All-Star races. So Ken Roberts has got himself an automatic golden ticket into 2027 and 2028's Super Speedway All-Star races.
What are the credentials to get locked into the All-Star race? Winning?
Winning.
Oh, you're
And it's not
only
just
winners.
for Thursday nights. If Monday night in the Bare Bones Racing Series, if Wednesday night in the Air 88 Series run a Super Speedway, a victory in those series at a Super Speedway also counts as an
Wow.
entry into the Super Speedway All-Star race.
So any Super Speedway win in Rolling Thunder Gaming's league gets you into that.
Correct.
That's awesome. Have they ever had to have knockout qualifying in that thing? I guess not, because there's
Not that I've seen. Nope.
yeah, there's not that many spots probably required, but that's cool.
I think this past All-Star race, there were 16 drivers that were eligible locked in. They had 3 drivers make their way in through the open. There were a couple of drivers that were locked in that didn't make it. I think we ended up having 16 with the transferees included that took the green flag this past couple of weeks ago in the All-Star race.
Nice. Oh, we have an update from Corey. So Corey said he's still rooting for me. So he's still rooting for Dad, even though Dad's not racing. So Randy, Corey won't root for anyone except for Randy.
You know
even
what?
If Randy's not racing. But probably my teammates. He said Denny, Mike, RJ, and Robert. Tell Seth Corey is my son, not my grandson. Yeah, I thought it was.
Apologies on that.
Yeah, Corey's his son.
But you know what? I admire the
That's cool.
dedication. Just Randy and nobody else.
Yeah,
I like
who
it.
you rooting for? Just you, Dad. That's it.
There is no backup.
So he
Yeah.
just wants to see a good race tonight, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, you come to the right place. You want to see a good race. Thursday night, Tally Challenge.
Think
Everybody
things
up
are
here
real.
at the front, they've migrated to the middle. A couple of drivers trying to get the inside line going, but for the most part, everybody at least up around the top 12, I would say, they're all just kind of in ride mode for the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if they've coming in here with a little bit of a different mentality after all the aggression we saw last week, but I'm sure this won't last the entire race. Once we get down closer to the finish, I'm sure the action will pick up. Of course, we're going to have a couple rounds of pit stops in between that as well, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, and the aggression last week, as you say, it lasted well until after the checkered flag. See Ulysses Sandoval running in 6th, a few cars behind him, the 17 of Chuck McClure. There was some extracurricular activity between those two on the cool-down lap. So keep an eye on those two if they get any closer to each other during the course of this evening. Both coming away with great runs in the season opener. Sandoval picking up the second position, and Chuck McClure.
Somebody's blown up, it looks like. Unless I'm just seeing things.
No, you're right.
Nope, it was Terry Bombard in the 10. And it looks like he got it down onto the apron, and it looks like we are going to avoid the yellow.
Live replay right now on board with the 10.
Good eyes there, Kyle. I completely missed that. Did not see the 10 of Bombard blowing up. And he was on the inside line in front of quite a number of cars. Donnie Garrett, Robert Breedlove right behind him. Well, that's a heck of a job to get that car down out of the way, and then as that left front clipped the grass, that was what caused him to spin. 9 times out of 10, more than likely, debris is going to be put down the racetrack, and it's going to bring out a caution. Great job by Terry Bombard to get that thing out of harm's way and keep us under green, but that's a heartbreak for him.
That's a good heads-up driving by everybody around him right there, too. Just didn't panic, didn't get into him, and
I wonder if he almost timed
everybody was able to avoid
that grass, too. Like, just get it in the grass and steer it down that way to make sure it doesn't come back up. Almost crash it.
He very well might have. Terry last week, 21st place in the season opener, so we talked about drivers and the ability to leapfrog through the point standings with a good run. On the flip side, you have a bad run here tonight, you can free fall through the point stands, and that will more than likely be the case for Terry going into race number 3.
trying to get something going on that inside line right there. You see the 880. They're leading that line right there. You have the 43 of Richard Martin, Greg Palmer right behind him, and quite a few others. But the middle line's still where you want to be. We have a third line forming on the outside, being led by Tim Nofsker.
Yeah, last week's winner trying to make some hay, high, wide, and handsome. Got some help there from the Intimidator throwback of Rodney Sullins. Milt Surratt's up there along with Joe DeSpirito. They've got about 8 drivers up there trying to make something happen. Bobby Farrell left in the sucker hole there in the middle.
It's like Kelly Causey trying to make a move for the race lead.
And he's got help. Craig Hagley up top there. Oh, trouble in the back. That was John Godfrey got turned around up into Jeff Crivello. There are quite a number of drivers involved in this one, including Javier Negron, Bobby Farrell, Robert Spring. Michael Norman's gotten a piece. There's a few cars even further up there, including Billy Elliser. Crivello, who I mentioned, was one of the first ones involved, facing the wrong direction. And a wreck from the start-finish line over to the entrance of turn number 1. Going to put us under the caution for the first time here tonight, just about 5 laps away from when these drivers are going to have to start thinking about making the dive onto pit road.
Speaking of the throwbacks, I'm just looking at that 31 of Bernie Mobbs. Who's that?
I wanted to say it was Morgan Shepherd, but it could be Michael Waltrip. Kyle, who is it?
Yes, Morgan Shepherd.
There it is. That's cool. I like that car.
And what a really good throwback, or really good paint scheme right there for Citgo.
So it was a Wood Brothers car, wasn't it?
Yes,
back
it
in the
was.
day? Okay, I thought so.
So I get started here. The 711 and the 92 make some contact, and boy, Cody Lamas did a nice job getting by that man. A couple
did
of
he
times.
ever?
There's
Wow.
an onboard to go on right there.
He avoided the 36, but all of a sudden Billy Elliser right across his nose. Donnie Garrett ended up getting a piece in the 77, and that 36 of Jeff Crivello caught some air there, too. The rear tires came up off the ground.
You're saying focus on the 48, eh?
Yeah.
All right, then.
Dennis McCarthy was involved. It's hard to tell if Jeremy Jeffries just spun out trying to get on the brakes. Maybe he made some contact with Robert Spring. And I believe that was... I've got to take a second look. Somebody else did a good job of getting through that wreck. Jason Scheck in the 12 also had a couple of near misses as he traversed through 1 and 2, got on the brakes to avoid Donnie Garrett sliding up in front of him.
Jason Scheck, that's a Rusty Wallace throwback from 1996. It's probably my favorite of the Miller Genuine draft cars that he ran back in the day.
Yeah, I just checked on the Jeremy Jeffries situation. Looks like Robert Spring got into the back of Javier Negron, who then just clipped the right rear quarter panel of Jeremy Jeffries. Jeremy just drove through the infield grass on the inside of 1 and 2 and kept on going, so minimal to no damage for the Michael Waltrip throwback.
The other driver did a nice job getting through that was Michael Norman. He just came to a complete stop and just let everything happen in front of him, and he was able to get by there without hitting anybody.
Now, tell the truth, Kyle. Is that something that Cletus would do?
Cletus, I don't know. I haven't seen him race enough to really know. So, Cody's going to stay out and get a bonus point there for leading.
Jason Scheck also going to stay out in the 12.
Close was Alisar to Lamas. Holy moly.
Yeah, crazy.
I just rewound that, put it in super slow motion here, and it just... all that happens at about 120 mile an hour. Out of control 26. Scratch on the 48.
I mean, we say it all the time. Some of the toughest wrecks to avoid a super speedway are those corner wrecks because you never know what direction the car is going to go.
And Michael just told me Cletus would have zigged. Well, Michael zagged. And by zagging,
okay.
But by zagged, he means coming to a complete stop.
I was going to say, Cletus would have tried to fly through there like a bald eagle. So it looks like once Lamas and Scheck, I'm assuming they're going to pit, it would cycle the race lead around at Kelly Causey, who you mentioned there, Kyle, just before that wreck happened, made that move to the outside line with the help of Craig Hagley, was able to get the lead from Denny Carroll, and now he'll be the control car on the upcoming restart.
Looks like we got somebody new watching on the Tarnation side of things here. CFB Vic Realine. I think I'm saying that properly. He says, this is some great racing here. And he says, well, tell me everything. This is my first viewing. So this is, somebody's catching this thing somehow for the first time. So this is pretty awesome. I know a lot about NASCAR. But give me a rundown to get me hooked on this thing. So what you're watching here is NASCAR Racing 2003 season, which is an old simulator made by Papyrus Gaming Simulations, I think was the name of the company. So Papyrus made this thing back in 2003. The game was abandoned shortly thereafter because they got soaked up by EA Sports, and then they split to make iRacing. In like 2006, I want to say, iRacing became a thing.
Honestly, I don't remember when that became a thing.
The community kept this thing going. So high resolution graphics, updated graphics. This mod never existed in the original game. Somebody created these cars. Some nights we race trucks. Some nights we race the Aero 88 series, which is super cool. There's so many different mods for this, so many different tracks. Any track on planet Earth, you can probably find it, and everything is free. You can download the game for free. There's YouTube tutorials to get you set up and rocking and rolling on brand new hardware. I'm running this thing right now on Windows 11, which is what you're seeing on the broadcast. All these guys paint these cars. We've got lots of talented car painters. So everything you're seeing is original, and it's a lot of fun. And like I said, it's a simulator, so it's not easy.
Yeah, this was the last game of its kind, as you said, back in 2003 after they lost the licensing to EA Sports, and it's just been kept alive and it's been going strong for over 20 years, which is absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah. So there's a person behind every car on track, except for the pace car, of course, but everybody's driving, probably got a steering wheel or a gamepad in their hand or their computer desk in their room somewhere on Earth. It's cool, man. Every night of the week, we come out and do this. And there's hundreds of leagues still. RollingThunderGaming.com is what you're watching right now. So this is just the Thursday series. Every Thursday they run Talladega. But they have other series
somebody
to change it up.
couldn't tell who that was that was behind Grant Wesley. Disappeared.
Going based off my running order, that would have been
That was Chuck
our defending
McClure.
champion, Chuck McClure. Yeah.
And I was also told by Michael on that restart there that the 38 of Rodney Sollins lost potentially third gear. He said lost a gear. Thinks it might be third gear.
Yeah, Chuck's gone, and he's still gone. I guess
He's dropped from the team speak, and I believe he's just dropped from the NR server. So
Oh, no.
that's a tough break there for Chuck. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in. If they end up having connection problems like that, they get them to all but one lap back, and if he's able to get a free pass, he'd be able to get back on the lead lap. That's a tough break. I mean, coming in with all the momentum, back-to-back champion between seasons 66 and 67. Got the season started off right with a top 10 run last week in the opener. It looks like he's just now entered back into the team speak, so we'll keep updated on Chuck McClure. But I guess if you're going to have something like that happen, have it happen in the first half of the race where you at least have time to be able to mount a comeback. It would really be a killer if it happened with, say, 5 to go.
Especially if he's the only one that's not on the lead lap right now. So still has plenty of time. And speaking of trouble, Jeremy Jeffries hard hit to the inside. Milt Surratt down there with him. I'm not sure if he got any damage in that, but that could be a good break there for Chuck McClure.
Fabio Negron was involved as well, and checking to see, yes, caution is now out. Looks like when the 40 and the 1 migrated back up the track, race officials put the caution out. Had that not happened, we probably still would have been under green, but that back end of that Napa Auto Parts throwback is smashed in. Jeffries hit that inside wall a ton.
You see Chuck McClure back out on the racetrack there, so. And it was confirmed that Rodney Sollins did indeed lose third gear, so.
Yeah, the one right across the nose of the one was Milton. Yeah.
Looked like they really stacked up on that outside line. It might have started way up there with the 24 of Joe DeSpirito, because I saw Brian Schilling just behind him, Michael Norman behind him, all lift out of the gas. And maybe the communication that the checkup was taking place up there just didn't make its way 4 or 5 cars back in that chain. And Milt got the tap from behind from David Little, sent him down into Jeremy Jeffries, and just the angle of the impact, it's no way, even to get on the brakes, that one car is going to take a massive hit into the inside wall. And maybe the saving grace was that it was the back end of the race car that hit, because if it was the front of the race car, Jeremy Jeffries more than likely is going to spend the rest of this race completely off the pace. He might have a fighting chance if it's just the back end damage.
Yeah, we've seen cars with that severe damage to the back end, and yet they're still able to run competitively up there inside the top 10. So Jeremy Jeffries might not be out of this thing.
He decides to stay out. You saw him peel back out. He's going to stay out there to lead that lap, get some points.
Ulysses almost got the win last week. Was leading on was essentially a green-white checkered restart, but wasn't able to keep Tim Nofsker behind him there. So Ulysses kind of looking for a little redemption this week, I would imagine.
And when we talked to Ulysses last week, you said, I'm one of those people that likes to go outside the box in strategy, do something different from everybody, especially when it comes to fuel. Now, most of these drivers came to pit road, they're going to fill up the tank, and they should be good to go for another 19 to 20 laps. Ulysses right now, I believe if the numbers are correct, he still should be able to make it to halfway. I'm wondering if this is a gamble to get track position for stage points.
Yeah, very well could be. I mean, it's like you just mentioned about him not being afraid to go outside the box in terms of strategy. Right there, this definitely seems like something he would do. So
that's something we got to get used to. Also, the 33 lap mark. How many bonus points for leading that lap?
It'd be 10 points for whoever crosses the line first, and then numerical order down to 10th position, which would get 1 point.
Right. So that's a big deal, getting the top 10 at midway. Because for leading a lap, you're only getting 1 or 2, right? Like if you lead a lap, that's like 1 bonus point, or is it
Correct.
5? Yeah.
It's
So-
1 bonus point for leading the lap, 1 bonus point for leading the most laps. The only other bonus points I know of that get paid out are 3 bonus points for winning a race.
Right. So leading lap 33. Or
That's
leading
something
lap 32.
It would be completion of 33.
So, yeah, okay. So getting on lap 33 and actually leading the end of that into 34. That's a lot of points.
It is. It really
Yeah.
is.
This is something
10.
I wish NASCAR would implement again, given bonus points for leading a lap. I don't understand why they got rid of that, but I like how they do it over here in the Tally Challenge. A lot of points you can pick up in one race.
So Ulysses Sandoval was not the only one that was looking like he was going to go with that strategy. 8 other drivers stayed out with him, at least on the first lap of this caution period. But now, since a number of them have dove onto pit road, it looks like now, along with Ulysses, 5 drivers are flipping this caution period to get track position at the detriment of fuel to those behind them. It'll be him, McCarthy, Donnie Garrett, Bernie Mobbs, and Robert Breedlove, your top 5 that all are out here, did not pit under this caution period, and will find themselves anywhere from about 3 to 5 laps shorter on fuel than everybody else that came down pit road.
I mean, that wasn't a really long green flag run either. So it wasn't. These guys weren't on pit road here. They were last on pit road not too long ago. So it's not that huge of a gamble. At least it doesn't sound like.
You saw the 17 of Chuck McClure going around. We're going to have to double check here. My scoring shows him 2 laps down. We'll have to see if he's going around to get only one of those 2 laps back, or if he'll be back on the lead lap when we go green. Normally, they end up giving all but 1 lap back to a driver if they fall out of the server, but we had that quick caution there, so there might not have been enough time under green to add that lap back. They might do it on this upcoming restart.
He might have been lucky enough to get back in, get all but 1 lap back, and then that yellow comes out, and he's a lucky dog.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He more than likely will be on the lead lap. The scoring will probably not show it until maybe they make their way around here on this upcoming lap's completion. Up to this point, Terry Bombard was the only driver out of the race after he had the engine failure. Looks like maybe, we'll wait for confirmation, but it looks like maybe David Little has taken his Dave Blaney throwback behind the wall. I currently see that he is no longer in the team speak. We don't have any indication that he is out of the race here on our telemetry, but I don't see him out on the racing surface. So it looks like he may be done for the night.
See Kelly Causey way back there. He was leading when that caution came out, so I guess he came back down to pit road to top off.
Looks like it. Yeah, they're showing 3 trips to pit road for Kelly Causey, while most everybody else only has 2. So, interesting play there. Is big stack up here on this restart.
Rodney Sullins,
with no 3rd gear, he obviously had told everybody about it. Whoever was behind him, I don't know if they tried to get him up to speed and got him squirrely, or didn't remember he didn't have 3rd gear, but he shot up and actually hit the outside wall.
Well, Ulysses is in bad shape right there. You don't get that big a lead here at a super speedway. They're going to get a massive run on him right now. Look at the 77 to Donnie Garrett.
Yep. Now we saw Donnie Garrett be Mr. Clutch last season. Had to win to make his way into the playoffs. Got the job done. Had to win to make his way into the Final Four. Got the job done. Coming off an incredible season. I was going to say a year ago, but technically it's only a couple of weeks for these drivers.
A season ago.
Yeah, a season ago. There you go.
It's like Robert Breedlove's going to take the lead there. Nice move there. Got a good push there from the 0-24 of McCarthy right there.
Bernie Mobbs got shuffled all the way to the outside line. He's going backwards. No help. Keep an eye towards the rear of the field here as well. Saw Jeremy Jeffries. He looks like maybe he's lost touch with the tail end of this lead group. That aero damage from that big hit into the inside wall. We'll have to see if he can draft back up. I also saw Chuck McClure quite a ways back there. Can update, he did get that other lap added back manually, so he is back on the lead lap as driver 17.
Donnie Garrett getting pushed to the lead there by Ulysses Sandoval. We have a third line forming here for
Yellow.
ways back there, and the caution is out. Oh.
John Godfrey, Kelly Causey over here, just in the entrance of turn number 2. They're the only 2 cars that are in that vicinity. Not sure if it was only those drivers involved or maybe a couple of others, but you talked about Kyle Kelly giving up all that track position to come down and top off the fuel tank, put himself back in the eye of the storm, and now involved in this wreck.
That's one of the risks you take.
Godfrey, Spring, and Ellisar, I think. Godfrey slid up just a little tiny bit.
Yeah, they were 3 wide back here. Mike Mangialardi ended up getting a piece of that.
Yeah. Godfrey's in there. Gotta thank John Godfrey. Can't thank him enough for all the work he does with these tracks. Upgraded the memorial banner on the front straightaway to add the 143 of Bob Dixon to the fallen members of the NASCAR 2003 family associated with Rolling Thunder Gaming.
Saw Tom Dixon in the team speak
We
before
did.
the race.
He was actually out on the racetrack during practice, during some laps.
Oh,
It was nice
okay.
to see him out on the racing surface again.
That's cool. Yeah, I know Tom can't sit for very long, so he's not really, some days not able to finish a full-blown 66-lap race here, but he does pop in sometimes, I guess, in practice, which is pretty neat. And probably still pits 3 laps early.
He probably does.
Michael just said that Tom Dixon actually attempted to make the race, but was one of the drivers that failed to qualify for it, unfortunately.
Oh,
But
too bad.
Maybe we see him attempt to make the field next week then. As, well, looks like
Seminara.
everybody that decided to stay out under the last caution decided to come down to pit road this caution, including Ulysses Sandoval, Robert Breedlove, who got to lead a couple of laps there.
see Bob Seminara going to stay out, and I would probably going to lead this lap. I would imagine so. Bernie Mobbs out there with
he
him.
was one of those that stayed out under the last caution, staying out under this caution as well. Okay, I had to double check on the front end of the 31. I thought for a moment there that the Chevrolet logo, I thought that he had made a Ford logo there, and I was going to say a Ford logo on a Chevrolet, I don't know, but no, he just filled in the color of the Chevrolet bow tie.
Well, that paint scheme was a Ford here back in the mid-90s.
That's why I thought he might have put a Ford on there.
See Michael Norman also staying out. He's saying that is a throwback. He's claiming that is a throwback paint scheme.
That's a throwback.
Because he hasn't ran it. He hasn't ran it in a while. So
That's true. That's true. So it looks like the first one off of pit road of those that came down going to be Denny Carroll. Currently shown around the 9th position. We'll wait and see if any of these top 8 make the dive onto pit road. We should get the lights out this time by for 1 to green, but pit road will be open one more time. We ended up having, was the first 14 laps under green flag conditions. Since then, we've been under the yellow flag 3 times. Starting to think maybe business is picking up, and we obviously weren't aware last week, but fully aware this week of those halfway points. You kind of get the sense that we're going to see the aggression ramp up the closer we get to the midway point of these races now, with these drivers realizing those stage points are on the line.
saw some cars come down pit road that time by. Saw Norman, saw Lamas. A couple guys behind them, but Seminara and Mobs, they're going to stay out here. Looks like they're going to go for those stage points.
So the lights should be going out this time, and if indeed that is the case, that means that next time around will be the completion of lap 28 onto 29, giving us 5 laps until those stage points will be handed out. What's going to make things interesting, dependent on the situation, the energy in the field, etc., it might be just as fun to watch who's going to end up getting the stage win as it is to cycle back and see who's going to snipe that 10th position.
That could get exciting here, especially if we stay under green for that.
We mentioned about drivers that are looking to bounce back after hard luck last week in the first race of the new season. Bob Seminara would be one of those drivers, a winner last season to lock himself into the playoffs, but last week, 30th position is where he brought it home. The driver to his outside, Bernie Mobbs, 32nd. So two drivers that are definitely looking to turn their fortunes 1 week later, gain those points back, and make their way up through the point standings, especially in preparation, I should say, for next week when I believe we start basing the top 30 off of this season's points in terms of go or go home qualifying.
I think they were both involved in that big wreck that we had very late in the going. A lot of drivers are caught up in that, so.
Yeah, still I think it's still for me is the most craziest back straightaway wreck I have ever seen at Talladega Superspeedway. We had, I think I counted 7 cars that ended up going up and over, including the 880 of Greg Lovell, who actually got tossed up into the air by Jeremy Jeffries. That was one of the wildest wrecks I think I've ever seen on a straightaway at a super speedway in a long time.
Every time we think we've seen it all in this game, this series will surprise us, it seems like.
A lot of red and white up here at the front of the field. Seminara and Bernie Mobbs getting us back under green. Saw the different lines try and anticipate when the green flag was going to fall. A little bit of stacking up. Second and third lanes respectively.
That outside line is a little bit more organized right there. Looks like Mobbs is going to get the lead here, getting a good push there from Causey and Wesley.
And normally the driver that takes the inside line likes to tuck up in front of the second lane coming out of turn 2, but Jeff Crivello wasn't able to get to the back bumper of Bob Seminara, and now he's going backwards as Wesley clears for third. Here comes Metallic to the outside for fourth. Last week's winner, Tim Nofsker, right behind as well, as Bernie Mobbs will lead us back here to the start-finish line. Still a long ways away from the checkered flag, but only 3 laps away from when stage points are going to get handed out.
Kelly Causey going to take the lead now. 2 Budweiser cars working together there, the 00 Hendrick Motorsports throwback, and then you have Grant Wesley right behind him in a Dale Earnhardt Jr. DEI throwback to 2001. Junior won that emotional race down at Daytona in July of that year. Donnie Garrett leading that outside line, though, getting a good push there from Robert Breedlove.
Bernie Mobbs in no man's land right now, stuck in the middle, no help. Seminara, for a brief moment, looked like he was going to the middle line, but he'll tuck in behind the 880 of Greg Lovell, and here comes Josh Metallic now to the outside line with help from Nofsker and Greg Lovell, making a bid for the race lead, potentially for the stage win. Oh, and he just blinked out.
Focused on Metallic, and he's gone.
There
he's back now.
Oh, he's back. Woo.
Man, I don't know what's going on tonight. We saw that with Chuck McClure, and Josh Metallic just had us scared. I don't know if there's an issue with the server or what, but man,
I hope all our technical gremlins from last week aren't transferring over to the drivers this week.
Yeah, really.
He was gone for like 80% of that entire straightaway. That was like a three count. That's a long time.
Right at
Fortunately
the very
for
front
him, he reappeared with space between himself and Novsker. We see so many times, to your point there, Blaine, when a driver disappears for that lengthy amount of time, the game does not account into that driver getting draft, so they run a little bit slower down the straightaway. When they reappear, the 880 could have very well been into the back bumper of the 39.
That is really scary, right at the very front of the field, too.
Top 5 single file. As soon as I say that, 5th place, Ducks Low, Kelly Causey, Grant Wesley. They've got help. Tim Anderson, Keith Bynum. 3rd line forming there. Everybody, Jocelyn, caution's out.
Oh.
Yellow flag is out. So this is going to be potentially for the stage victory. Now, I say potentially because we've taken the proverbial white flag. Next time around is when the points get paid out. Pit road will be open. So now, if you're the top 10 drivers, do you give up the track position after you get the stage points, pitting the second time by?
We're under caution for a blown motor. I was told there by our colleague Michael Norman. I don't know whose engine failed.
Potentially, it looks like.
Yeah, camshaft, it looks like on the 80. And the 10 had a valve. So engine problems. The only 2 retired cars tonight. Surratt and Terry Bombard. Engine failure.
We've had two cars blink out. 2 engine failures. Man, what a interesting race here we have so far.
You don't see the mechanical failures all that often. You'll maybe see the occasional random blow up, but the fact we've had 2 of them, we of course had the reports that Rodney Sullins has no 3rd gear. Yeah, it's been interesting here this evening for these drivers, and I guarantee you when there's just the 1 random blow up, drivers don't think much of it. When there's 2 random blow ups like that, then drivers start to get worried, wondering, am I next?
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Like in a NASCAR race, if somebody, you say you have a multi-car team and one of the cars goes out with engine failure, everyone on that team gets nervous. And now, kind of look at here, everybody runs the same setup in this series. So everyone's got to be kind of on their toes right now.
Now this is interesting. I just saw Kelly Causey, who would have gotten a total of 6 stage points here, make the dive to pit road. So Metallic will win the stage. Novsker will get 9 points in 2nd. Lovell will get 8 in 3rd. Seminara will get 7 in 4th. Grant Wesley will end up getting the 6 points in 5th position, with Tim Anderson, Dennis McCarthy, Brian Schilling, Chuck McClure, and now Donnie Garrett, it looks like, getting those stage points. I think Ken Roberts may have also foregone stage points. I think he was listed in 11th, would have been the 10th car, but I think he also came to pit road here the first lap.
That opens up another thing. Yeah, like Roberts being in 11th is like, oh, I'm not going to get the points. Commits to pit road, and then Causey in 6th fails. Roberts could have got those 10 place points.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things to think about now at this midway stage thing. This is cool. And I'm surprised. I was surprised to see that red 00 head to the pit.
I think it's all a matter of, do you want the track position or do you want the points? Because now, more than likely, you're going to see all of these drivers that stayed out for the stage points pit the second time by. All those drivers that pit the first time by, they'll migrate their way up to the front of the field.
When was the last time that Causey had come to pit road? We mentioned that he had pitted 3 times under 1 caution. Was that the last time he had pitted?
I believe so. Yeah, I think he stayed out under the last yellow.
80 lost the motor. We didn't throw a yellow.
Interesting strategy there. Maybe just going for the overall victory, then for the stage victory or the stage points in this case. And to no surprise, looks like everybody that stayed out to get the stage points, they're going to come down pit road this time by, so that will migrate all those that pitted the first time around up to the front. I think it might end up being Ken Roberts, who was the first one off pit road of his group. Or no correction on that, Mark Paglia was the first one off of that group. That I think will be the race leader, or will he? Pat Makarski staying out. And Makarski did not Yeah, he did not pit the first time by. So this is a gamble by the 197. He'll get a lap led. He'll be our leader on the restart, but he's going to have a lot less fuel than the drivers behind him.
You're talking about those stage points in relation to track position. I think, especially if you're metallic, 10 points is a big deal. It's worth.
Makarski looks like he's indicating he'll take the top side here for this restart. That'll put second place Mark Paglia on the bottom of the front row. Ali Causey and Ken Roberts, they'll be row number 2. Robert Breedlove, Greg Palmer in row 3. Craig Hagley, Denny Carroll, Joe DeSpirito, Jeff Crivello. That's going to be your top 10 on this upcoming restart. Based off of scoring, he was able to get the 10 points for winning the stage. But with coming to pit road the second time around under caution, Josh Metallic will start deep in the field, 22nd place when the green flag drops.
I think in his case it's worth the track position, just because 10 points is a lot of points. But now you gotta hope you can find your way back up there.
Yeah, Josh came into tonight's race 15th in the point standings. So just outside of what would be a points-paying playoff position. More than likely, those 10 bonus points right there, live scoring would put him above the cut line, but you got to finish the race as well. And we saw what happened when Kelly Causey made the second dive to pit road a couple of cautions ago to top off the fuel tank, got caught up in the following wreck. So Metallic and the rest of those others have put themselves in the eye of the storm. We'll see if they can make their way back up to the front of the field as Pat Makarski will get us back under the green flag here. Second half of this race.
Boy,
30 laps away from conclusion.
McCarthy was way out in front of the 55 of Ken Roberts right there on that restart. That's not going to be a good restart there for the 97. Had absolutely nobody behind him, and we saw the 00 of Kelly Causey all over the back bumper of Mark Paglia. Easily for them to jump out into the lead.
Ooh, somebody back there, very rear of the field, got squirrely. I think that was Richard Martin. Maybe an errant bump on the straightaway by Tim Anderson. I also noticed on the drop of the green flag, Josh Metallic jump up to the third lane as they cross the start-finish line. Not sure if he was trying to avoid somebody or trying to get a third lane going right out of the gate.
So Pagula back to the front. I believe this is the second time he's been out front tonight after he started on the pole.
Yeah, trying to do something that is very difficult to do. Start P1, finish P1 at a super speedway. We've seen drivers do it before, but it's quite few and far between when that occasion arises. Paglia is just looking for some good luck, too. A lot of times we'll see him up in this position, top 5, top 10, that gets caught up in something late, does not glean the points indicative of just how good of a run he had. I mentioned last week, he was just kind of right in the middle in the finishing results, bringing it home in the 19th place. And quite a while, a long winless streak for driver 28. He'd love to snap that here tonight.
Oh boy. The 82 car got out of shape a little bit right there, but ends up keeping it together though.
And I think that little wiggle checked up that outside line. Denny Carroll reacting to it, and that allowed the space for Robert Breedlove to tuck up in between him and the 22 of Greg Palmer. Mentioned nice to see Greg back in the field here tonight. Didn't see him in last week's season opener. He had a good excuse. He was on the other side of the world. It doesn't look like he's missed a step. Currently up inside the top 5 in 4th place.
It's no excuse, though. If you're on the other side of the world, you can play the game on a laptop.
Yeah, just bring your sim rig with you.
Yeah.
Tie it down to put in the baggage cargo space of the plane. Tie it to your rental car.
Or use a gamepad. You could do that.
Yeah, but what was the time zone difference? That's what I want to know.
Well, let's see. He was in Greece. I know that
there'll be
England is, 6 hours ahead of us? So he was probably 7 hours ahead of us, I would say.
Yeah, I know, like Scotland
Maybe 8?
is like 7 or 8, so it's probably pretty close. Open up the Google machine and see.
That just sounds like a lot of jet lag.
We need to find a way. We talk about this game constantly evolving. We need to have somebody get into the works of making Enter 2003 a handheld game so people can play it on their cell phones.
You know, I'm shocked that hasn't happened yet. I mean, just everything that we've seen.
Have the phone have tilt controls like a Wii controller or something.
Right now it's 5 o'clock, and almost 5 o'clock in the morning in Greece. So you're talking
so that's
7...
Josh
8 hours
Patalik-
ahead of us. Or no, that's 7 hours ahead of us then.
Yeah.
Josh Patalik just disappeared again and reappeared.
And the field almost split 3 wide in reaction to that. Metalic's done a good job of working his way back forward after giving up all that track position to pick up that stage victory. Look who's right there just below him. That one of Jeremy Jeffries. So it looks like maybe what we saw in that previous restart, not necessarily indicative as I'm reacting to the Donnie Garrett block on Tim Knopfsker right there. But it looks like Jeremy's one of those cars, the damage where he needs somebody behind him to keep him up to speed. If he's the trailing car with no help, he's not able to stay in the draft.
And Jeremy Jeffries running right there in front of Grant Wesley. It looks like a scene from 2001. Michael
It does.
Walker and Dale Earnhardt Jr. working together at Talladega. We saw that quite a bit there during that time. In fact, both of those paint schemes ran in the same exact race, the 2001 Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Finished 1-2.
And I don't know if that individual in your chat there, Blaine, that was wondering about Enter 2003, the ins and outs. Casey's wondering, yes, it is safe to push the fuel cell of that one car. It will not blow up.
Yeah.
Joe Spirito with a slick move from the bottom up to the middle in front of Javier Negron. Now going to find himself in the middle of 3 wide. Rodney Sullins there on the bottom. No third gear for the 38. Donnie Garrett up there on the top side with Tim Knopfsker. Ryan Schilling also up there. Denny Carroll will make the dart from the middle down to the inside line. The top 7 all right now pretty content to run single file, but they are making some moves from 8th position on back. Whoa,
Oh, Rodney.
couple of cars down there, left sides below the yellow line onto the apron through 3 and 4. Rodney Sullins and Pat McCarskey. Josh Metallic got stuck in the middle. He's faded to the back after he was just about to crack the top 10. Michael Norman now moves low to the inside of fellow Ford Dark Horse Mustang Craig Hagley, trying to pick up the help of the Chevrolet of Robert Breedlove. And here comes Donnie Garrett still with that top line contingency.
Oh,
They're going to try and crack the top 5 as nearly the left front of Garrett's car got into the right rear of Craig Hagley.
Hagley's going to be put in the middle. Looks like he has no help. Can he get in front of Norman? Yes, he does.
Whoa, they checked up on that bottom. And Roberts got out of shape. Michael Norman a little bit further back on that inside line. Got squirrely. Oh, and Marcaglia! Save it! They did! Oh my goodness, but they're going right behind. Rodney Sullins goes around. Oh my goodness, big hits.
Big wreck.
For John Godfrey and Jeremy Jeffries, Richard Martin. Oh, that's just one of the tough things about super speedway racing. They can save it at the front, but then everybody reacts behind, and sometimes you just run out of room.
A lot of damage to that 43 of Richard Martin on both sides of the car, and the back end all tore up.
He's actually skating. He was skating sideways and somehow held on to that thing.
This started at the very front of the field with the 28 of Paglia.
Yeah, I think that there was just a big run from Donnie Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
And he came up on the 28 at just the wrong time. The entry into the corner, when he gave him the bump, it got the 28 squirrely. Little assist from the right side of Kelly Causey's car got him straightened back out. But then as everybody reacted behind, some lifting more than others, I think it was Chuck McClure into the back of Brian Schilling, Glenn Harris into the back of McClure, and Rodney Sullins was the fourth car in line that ultimately ended up paying the price, went up into the wall, and then it was just on from there.
Yeah, Rodney was the first car I saw that went around, and saw the 33 get involved there, the 74. There's the 43 getting knocked around. Josh Metallic did a nice job getting through that.
Yeah, the 43 of Richard Martin went up and got the one of Jeremy Jeffries. And then the 711 of John Godfrey also sliding up the racetrack, got him a second time. Greg Lovell also involved in this wreck, and not just the rear end damage that Jeremy has to worry about now. He's got damage just about every end of that race car.
Bay out.
There's some really hard hits in this, the fifth caution of the night. It's only our third caution for a crash. We've had two other cautions come out due to mechanical failures.
Got about 20 laps to go or so here, and these guys, I don't think they can make it from here.
The drivers that stayed out certainly can't. The drivers that pit, they might be able to. As I think, just based off the number of laps we've seen here per caution, I think we're going to go back green at the completion of 48 onto 49. So that would put us at 18 to go, which is within that 19 to 20 lap window. So they should be able to make it. I'm not certain about these drivers staying out, unless, let me double check. I think, yeah, that was Scheck's first lap led, so it might have just been for the bonus point here for driver number 12. The other drivers behind him there, though, Robert Spring and Bernie Mobbs, not exactly 100% certain about the strategy for them, because they certainly cannot make it the rest of the way without coming to pit road at least one more time.
So far, Denny Carroll has the most laps led tonight with 12. Aguilar's close, though. He's got that fastest lap of the night, 201.4 mile an hour. That's Jason Scheck.
I believe Kelly Causey is going to be our race leader when we go back green. To your point, though, Kyle, we're going to be right on the number, more than likely, for these drivers to be able to make it the rest of the way. But if you're the leader for the remainder of this run, you might find yourself just a little bit short on fuel, creating the draft for everybody else. So for Kelly Causey, he's done a good job of flipping these respective cautions to gain track position late, but leading this race could be a detriment if he is going to be close to making it on fuel.
Everybody's probably hoping for one more caution. They could probably make it if they get one more caution. And the way things have been tonight, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if we get one.
Yeah, you see a lot of space right here from Causey back to Mark Paglia. A lot of space being given with drivers straddling the respective lines. Reason for that?
Clutching.
They were all clutching. Yep, coasting across the start-finish line there before they have to pick up their respective spots in these lanes. Causey will be the leader. We'll get the restart with 18 to go. Mark Paglia will line up in second. Ken Roberts, Greg Palmer, Craig Hagley, your top 5. Last week's winner, Tim Nofsker, in the 6th position. 7th, Robert Breedlove. 8th, Donnie Garrett. Chuck McClure going to restart in 9th. Just saw him reappear there for a moment. And Denny Carroll will complete the top 10. Working our 5th caution of the evening. 40-car field here tonight. Had to send some drivers home. And right now, it looks like 37 of those 40 drivers are running, all on the lead lap. The only drivers out of the race, Milt Surratt, Dave Little, and Terry Bombard. 2 of those drivers out due to mechanical failures. Now, for the most part, everything now is going to be settled up here on the banking of the racetrack. Pit road will more than likely no longer be a concern. What's at stake? A victory and an opportunity to lock yourself into this season's playoffs. It's a rare occasion where we get 9 full regular season races. There's normally an off week at some point during the regular season. Not the case here. Got to be consistent over 9 weeks if you're going to make your way into the playoffs, either through a victory or through points. Nofsker has already gotten the job done 1 week ago. Who will be the next to join him? Green flag back in the air. Now we've got trouble at the back. Bobby Farrell just got clobbered by Mike Mangialardi. And this is that caution you were talking about, Kyle, that's going to have anybody that was on tender hooks about fuel breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, curious to see what started that. Somebody not get up to speed and 92. Well, something happened to the 92 of Bobby Farrell. He just didn't go. I don't know if he lost a gear or what, but
that looks like a gear issue. Car just did not have any forward drive. No, engine went.
Looked like he was almost trying to give him a boost, but is that what you're saying? The car died?
Yes, as soon as he upshifted from 1st to 2nd gear, the engine just went, or it looks like maybe from 2nd to 3rd gear. I didn't see any smoke.
That is...
But wow. Yeah, the car just went dead after the upshift from 2nd to 3rd. I didn't hear any popping out. I didn't hear any money shift.
All these, potentially the 3rd engine failure of the night makes me wonder. I mean, we know that that they run a fixed setup in the series. Do they run the same setup every single week?
They do, actually. Yeah. Same setup, same track conditions. Farrell is still sitting on pit road, it looks like.
Replay there, you just saw the tack just start dropping.
The fact that Bobby Farrell has not retired and is still sitting in his stall, either he's still waiting for the tow to complete to see if they can potentially fix that car and get him back out there. We've seen that before, where drivers blow up and we think they're done for the night, but be able to still continue on. Either that or they are in the process of currently repairing the race car. We'll have to stay posted with that 92.
Where that happened on the track, that'll be a long tow.
Very long, yes.
Just past the pits, so that's a 2-mile tow. Plus however long it takes them to try to fix that thing. Again, we want to thank our anonymous donor. Can't do this without you. Who is it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. They won't tell me.
Nope.
I've tried to get the info, and I promise, man, I'll keep it a secret. Nope, not happening. But yeah, thank you to the anonymous donor. Thank you to Rolling Thunder Gaming for putting Tarnation TV and Flatout Racing together. And of course to the viewers and the drivers, people who watch it live and on the replay. We appreciate your business.
And outside of that, too, it's just a pleasure for us to be able to watch these drivers at work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we call what we see, but at the same time, we're spectators and we're fans just as much as the people at home watching the racecraft that goes into super speedway race. I mean, these are some of the best in the business. Unfortunately, the server is only able to hold 40. Otherwise, we'd put everybody that showed up to race out on the track. Every single week, no two races are ever the same. We could end up seeing a photo finish. We could see fuel strategy. You never know what's going to happen when these drivers take the green flag on a Thursday night.
Yeah, there are times where, there's some times where I forget that, we're supposed to call the action, and we got to get too busy watching what's going on. I mean, it's, that's how good of a show these guys put on every week.
It's funny too, because my co-host Rod Weston, he was out here last week. He ended up like 13th, I think. He finished 13th, 15th, something like that. Pretty good.
It's like 14th, yeah.
Yeah, pretty good spot. Because you always hear him on our Tarnation TV broadcast how much he just does not like super speedway racing. And I'm like, well, then why would you go out to the Talladega Challenge? It's a different vibe when you're in a series that strictly runs Talladega. He said that same thing. He's like, man, I know I talk down on the super speedway racing, but Thursday nights is something else. It's completely different. You've got 40 drivers out here, and he was able to lock up a 14th place finish, having never raced with these guys. It just shows you the talent that you're surrounded with out here. And Rod has played this game as long as we all, as long as I have. I bought the thing brand new in 2003. Half of these guys weren't even born in 2003. It's just
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love how long this thing has been around, and it is that good. It kind of is the perfect NASCAR game. And Rod loves his Martinsville. But man, he had a lot of fun here last Thursday. And he tried to get out here again tonight, but didn't make it because of the knockout qualifying. So there's only 40 driver positions out here because they need a couple of spots for us broadcasters.
Yeah.
When 50 people show up for a 40-car race, well, we've got to do a couple of sessions to figure it out.
Yeah, a friend of Seth and I's right there made his debut in the series last week. Dylan Young started on the pole, and talked to him after the race. He said he really enjoyed himself out here, and looks to run some more races throughout the season. Not going to run full time, but so said he really enjoyed himself out there, and that just goes to show you, how good this series is.
Yeah, just to build off of that too, Kyle. I mean, when we asked him, why do you want to run the Talladega Challenge Series? His quick response was, I want to get better at super speedway racing, and this is the place to do it. Learn off of these guys, you'll learn a lot.
This entire grid, you follow anybody out here tonight and learn so many different styles. Lap number 53 is about to begin, guys.
Yeah, we're
What's gonna
closing
happen
in
next?
on 10 to go. Kelly Causey, he has been able to do a good job of maybe going outside the box in terms of pit strategy to gain track position. Still showing the way here. He's about to, I believe, snipe Denny Carroll for that most laps led bonus point with the completion of that lap. And Roberts, Craig Hagley right there, second and third place, and they'll all make their way up to the middle line in front of Paglia.
Kelly Causey's one of those drivers, and I'm really surprised that hasn't won in a while. At least since I've been covering the series for FRN, he's been awfully close several times. Just I don't know if he's won in this series or not, but he's been awfully close the last few seasons. So maybe tonight he can close the deal.
Yeah, to your point, multiple season winless streak for Kelly Causey. I can't recall the exact number season that it was when he last won, but I believe he was a 2-time winner that season. But it has been a drought for the 00, and maybe tonight he can snap that winless streak. He's got a good pusher behind him in Ken Roberts, Craig Hagley right there as well in the 82. Right behind him, the 28 of Mark Paglia. So a couple of Chevys and then a trio of Fords making up your top 5. Knopfsker's clear into 6th. Donnie Garrett into 7th place. Battle side by side for 8th. Chuck McClure on the bottom. Robert Breedlove on the top. Just doesn't look like the numbers are down there on the inside. There's only about 5 of them, and there's a lot of space from the 2nd car to the 3rd car, the 4th car to the 5th car. They just don't have the momentum right now. Maybe if they can get themselves moving forward just a little bit, some of those drivers up ahead in the middle line will notice them coming, jump down to help.
I remember Chuck McClure saying at the end of last season, after he won the championship for the 2nd straight season, feels like, heading into this season, he's going to have a huge target on his back due to him winning the last 2 championships. Probably surprised that he has some drafting help right now.
It's like the damage sustained, extra damage sustained for Jeremy Jeffries has him way off the pace. He has lost touch with the lead group. Mike Mangialardi appears to have done the same. There's a trio of drivers trying to stay in the draft. Richard Martin, Graham McDonald, and Robert Spring, all with damaged race cars as well. Trying to see if they can stay in this lead group and still be in the conversation, if not for the race victory, at least for a decent finish here tonight. Like McClure and Wesley found their way up into the middle lane. They're going to be around, looks like, 12th and 13th position. And we are now single file, just about all the way back through the top 25. That's Cody Lamas and Glenn Harris back there battling. I think last time by they were 23rd and 24th. So everybody right now maybe just biding their time, picking their moments. You'll probably see some drivers back outside the top 15 start moving around with more urgency than some of the drivers up here at the front of the field, because you can't wait too long to make your move.
That's all about timing. When do you make that move? You don't want to, like you said, you don't want to wait too long, but don't want to rush up there either. So, super speedway racing, just a big chess game. I think Tony Stewart said it best. He said that super speedway racing is a game of chess, and I'm only smart enough to play checkers.
I was never much good at either of them. Looking at our front runners here, just about all of them are coming in with a bit of a winless streak. Ken Roberts, it's been a couple of seasons since we saw him go to victory lane. I believe for Craig Hagley, he is still looking for his first victory of his career here on Thursday nights. Mark Paglio, we mentioned about the long winless streak for him, and Greg Palmer. I believe it was season 65, if I recall correctly. It might have been season 66 when he won the season opener, but it's been a long winless streak for driver 22 as well. Same cannot be said for the driver behind him, Tim Knopfsker. It's only been 1 week since he last went to victory lane, but these drivers want to win these races so badly, I think they would consider 7 days a winless streak.
Well, I would imagine so. And they're trying to get something going on that outside line right there. We saw Michael Norman leading that line here briefly, but now Chuck McClure, with help from Grant Wesley. Now Ulysses Sandoval jumps up in front of him.
Yeah, we talked about the post-race contact between these two. Now working together to try and make that outside line work. Toyota, Chevy, Ford. Robert Breedlove now going to jump up there to that outside line. And technically it is an outside line, but we're seeing both of these lanes sharing that middle groove. Both these lanes running in between those set of white hash marks. So there's not a whole lot of room being given here, a lot of limited space.
Now Donnie Garrett's going to lead that outside line here for the moment.
Greg Palmer now going to move up. Oh, we saw there Chuck McClure, Grant Wesley. They've jumped from the top down to the bottom now to pick up Tim Nofsker.
That's a dangerous trio right there.
There's a lot of indecision here. A lot of drivers moved up to that outside line. Now they move to the bottom. Paglia trying to tuck back up there as there was contact. Breedlove nearly spun the 22 of Greg Palmer. Good hands, able to keep that thing going.
Ulysses a little bit swirly right there in the middle, keeping it together.
Sandoval, Wesley, Norman shooting up the middle there as Robert Breedlove gets caught out in that third line. Can you tell we're coming to 5 to go?
That's all. I didn't think they'd stay single file for very long.
No. And I don't think they'll stay double file for very long. This were a few seasons ago, we would be into the point of no return. With the EXE they can expedite cautions, so we won't be at that point just yet. We got a couple more laps before we'd enter into the point of no return where a caution would end the race. Right now, the side-by-side is for 8th position. The top 7 currently clear up in that middle line, making their way around the wounded Jeremy Jeffries machine. Kelly Causey, he's had Ken Roberts as his wingman for the entirety of this run, but at what point do the 55, the 82, the 28 try starting to size up that 00 for this race victory?
It's like that middle groove is where you want to be. That inside line is kind of dissolved. I want to say dissolved, but they've really fallen back a bit there. It's like they were making a little bit of progress, but now Donnie Garrett's currently running in the 9th position, leading that line. Sandoval with a look underneath Palmer. Is he going to get any help? Doesn't look like it.
No, Grant going to stay up in that middle line behind the 22 of Palmer. Sandoval might drop back to the 77 of Donnie Garrett. Went for 5th, going to drop back to, looks like probably 10th position. So we'll hit the line. 3 laps to go here in this second race of the season. Sandoval was able to find his way up into that middle groove behind Joe DeSpirito, 10th place driver, last driver single file. Well, as soon as I say that, Donnie Garrett able to get to his inside after a good push from Tim Nofsker into turn 1.
I'd like to say Garrett's too far back, but never say never. Things changing the
El Sandoval coming to pit road.
Ulysses short on fuel potentially here.
Yeah, Michael told me that Ulysses said that he was 3 laps short. I didn't know if Ulysses was being serious or not, but it's like he was.
I'm almost wondering if when everybody came down and filled up the fuel tank, did he just go with a can and a half maybe to gain track position? Planning on another caution to be able to save? Well, that's a costly mistake on Ulysses' part because he was in line with where he was running to finish back-to-back top 10s. Came into this race 2nd in points. This is going to hurt him going into next week points-wise.
All right, white flag this time by.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We still got a tri-oval to traverse here before the white flag is officially displayed, but it looks like they will make it. So now all bets are off. You had all those friends, all those allies in the rearview mirror for these last 10 to 15 laps. Now they're going to start trying to make moves here. So he's going to be the first one back to the checkered flag.
He's going to be the first one to jump out of line here is the question.
How long do you wait? You've got 3 Fords lined up there. Hagley, Paglia, and Palmer. Ooh, they chain bumped. 82 got a little squirrely. The 28 of Paglia backing up.
Trying to get a run there. He's got Greg Palmer right behind him. Can they do anything?
Ozzy going to stay committed to that middle groove there, leaving the bottom open for Ken Roberts. Looks like Ken's
Wesley.
content to ride right
Ozzy's
behind
win
him.
Nice.
Kelly Causey going to lead 25 laps here tonight. Snaps that lengthy winless streak. And he will punch his ticket into the playoffs via a victory in race number 2. Looked like they had that worked out, at least for the top 3, had that worked out, that they were content to push Kelly Causey to that victory because he left a lot of real estate on the inside line, but Roberts and Hagley stayed lined up, nose to tail with him in that middle groove all the way through the tri-oval.
Looks like Frank and Louie are going to go to Victory Lane tonight.
That's the frogs, aren't they?
Yes, those are the
I didn't know they had names.
I'm just showing my age there, seeing how much I remember those commercials. But
No, it's not age, it's knowledge.
yeah, there we go.
Wait, then hold on. So Frank and Louie on the hood, there's another frog on the back bumper, isn't there? Who's that?
Or maybe...
Yeah, I think there's...
that's
Oh no, that says Louie as well.
Yeah, that's Louie on the back of the car, and then.
Wait, so how did? Oh, and
Yeah,
Frank's
okay.
on the front. Okay.
No,
wait,
okay,
they're not even frogs. They're chameleons.
You're a frog.
I thought they were frogs. Budweiser had chameleons?
Lizard.
Back at that time,
Lizard.
yes.
Lizard.
No. Goodbye, Mr. Norman.
You get mad. You get mad at Nick when he does that too, don't you?
Oh
Especially
my
in
goodness.
Fortnite.
Do you know how many times during the course of last season I had to avoid saying the 6-7 meme? Now you hop in here, second race of this season, and hit us with the lizard. Good grief, sir.
So where did I finish in the first race?
Fifth, I believe. You're like 5th or 6th.
Well, you came into this race 7th in points. You finished top 5, so yeah, I think I was right. I think you were 5th.
Because you said 6-7. I was like, did I finish 6th in the first race? Because I just finished 7th in this race.
Don't you start. Don't you start.
I should have turned low, and I just told Grant that too. When he had that stack up, he should have turned low, and I was going to go with them. And oh my God, we would have had such a run.
I hear that 6-7 crap enough at my job dealing with all the kids that I have that I deal with. I really don't need to hear it now.
We got to make 6-8 the new meme now that we're in the 68th season. Kelly Causey, great victory for him here tonight. Would love to go back and see just exactly how long it's been since he was last at Victory Lane. I know it's been at least 3 seasons. He more than likely, I'm sure, would know the last time he went to Victory Lane, and finally breaks back into winner's circle here tonight. Going to join Tim Knofsker as a race winner here in the 68 season. Ken Roberts, Craig Hagley going to be your podium finishers, and we're going to be dialing them up and finding out their thoughts at the closing stages here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Let's start things off with the highest finishing of the Blue Ovals. Hey, Craig, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Great run for you here this evening, bringing it home on the podium. Kept the car up front just about all night long. Great qualifying draw for you as well, rolling off from the 7th position. Looked like you had, I think it was 2 other Fords behind you in Paglia and Palmer. Did you maybe have some manufacturer alliance going on there, final lap? Maybe try and get those Chevrolets at the end? Or was there nothing you could do to combat Causey and Roberts?
We were all just pretty well stuck there together, and really wasn't trying to fall to the back and be the first one to pull out, and because I've done that on numerous occasions, to go and try and make a move, and then next thing I know I'm in 36. So I was just looking for a good finish, especially after last week.
Yeah, last week we saw you finish around the middle of the pack, came into this race 18th in points. I mentioned at the beginning of the night, when the points are as close together as they are after only one race of competition, even a top 5 finish can leapfrog you through the point standings. So what does this do for you in terms of not only the result here tonight, but the momentum going forward into the rest of the regular season?
Well, it'll help me keep on pushing. My qualifying has been quite subpar lately, so I only barely made it in by the skin of my teeth tonight. So I got to step that up a little bit, but I need to get back in the top 30 in points so that whenever this all takes over, I don't have to worry about qualifying no more.
Saw a lot of drivers during the course of the night kind of flip-flop in terms of coming to pit road under one caution, then staying out under the other caution. We even saw some strategy of coming to pit road between the first and second lap of caution. And of course, the halfway stage points that get paid out have played into that as well. So how difficult is it now to kind of manage the pit strategy of points over track position when the midway portion of the race comes around?
Well, it definitely changes it up a bunch. I failed to realize last week that I was in position to get points and pitted because I didn't pay attention to read. And so that cost me a little bit, but I'm more on track now.
Well, Craig, a great run for you here tonight. Certainly going to help elevate you in the point standings in preparation for next week. Solid podium run, third place tonight. We'll now give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
I want to thank everybody at RTG that puts everything on. Y'all that do the broadcast, y'all do a great job. Everybody on the team, we did a great job. And it's great to watch a legend win again.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's Craig Hagley. Brings it home third place here this evening at Talladega. Congratulations on the great run, and hopefully this is a sign of good things to come the remainder of the regular season. So best of luck.
Thanks, guys.
Highest finishing of the Fords here tonight. Top 2 comprised of Chevrolets. Let's dial up second place finisher here tonight, Ken Roberts. Hey, Ken, the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Sure do.
A few weeks ago, we saw you park the number 55 in Victory Lane at this venue, taking home the 2026 Superspeedway All-Star Race. Almost able to pick up the victory here, second race of season 68. Now, I mentioned it kind of looked like you were committed to the 00 through the tri-oval. A lot of space down there on the inside line, but we just talked with Craig, and he said it seemed like just about everybody up there didn't want to step out of line to make a move, because if you didn't have anybody with you, you were going to give up a solid top 5 and maybe fade outside of the top 10. Was that the case for you, or were you pretty committed to the 00 the remainder of that run?
Yeah, Kelly, he's one of my teammates, so I was sticking with him pretty good. So
did we lose you, Ken?
yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, nope, all good. He came away with a good run last week as well to kick off the season. Top 5, came into this race 4th in the standings. So even though you don't have the locked-in spot with a victory, still back-to-back top 5s to kick off a super speedway season is really, really good. What do you think this does as far as the momentum? Can you keep this consistency up? Because I remember when you said back during that All-Star race that was one of the things you were looking for since you're running full-time this season.
Yeah, I mean, the All-Star race was definitely a shot in the arm, picking up the victory that night. And then, second place last week, second place this week. Really, it's just points racing for me. Like I said earlier, Kelly's, I've raced with Kelly for many, many years. So, I told him when we was getting down to the end there, last 20 laps or so, I said, I'm going to stick with you wherever you go, you go. And, but yeah, I mean, it just worked out, and he hadn't been in Victory Circle for a while, so I thought it'd be nice to get him up there.
Last week, obviously, the season opener. It's a blank slate. Everybody starts at 0 points, an opportunity to essentially bring home the trophy or the steering wheel. We saw a somewhat different race here tonight, more green flag racing, maybe a little bit more reserved, long green flag runs. Do you expect this to continue to be a trend as we progress further towards the halfway point of the regular season?
Yeah, I think so. I think, that first race, I think, everybody was just a little, was just aggressive. Didn't see that kind of aggression tonight. I think people are a little more settled in their moves. But, as far as the points go, with the halfway points, that's what really kind of propelled us back up to the front. Was, you know, those guys stayed out. We had a caution, and those guys stayed out to get those bonus points. We went in and pitted, and then we rolled out back up in front of those guys. So, you know, that really, you know, you got to make those decisions. You know, do I stay out and get some, you know, so the halfway points, or do you, you know, just go for track position and, you know, try to set yourself up for a good finish? So that's what we did, and it worked out good. So it was a good night for the team.
Worked out for sure. Back-to-back top fives to kick off season 68. Ken, congratulations on a great run here tonight, P2. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys, you know, for doing the broadcast. Can't wait to go back and watch this one. You know, all the guys over here at RTG, Josh and Tim and Rodney, you know, run this series. You know, they do an excellent job. You know, every before every race, it's chaos with the knockout qualifying, and I think there was 21 guys over in knockout qualifying tonight. So, you know, they're getting the big fields, so it's a lot of fun. I thank those guys. Thank my teammates at Redline, Rodney Solins for my one of my favorite cars. These throwbacks, I love them. You know, the old Mountain Dew car. So thank him for that. He's got me a new one painted up for Monday night. So new Mountain Dew car. So I can't wait to get that out there. But yeah, just an overall good night, and, you know, just keep plugging at it and see where we are at the end.
Ken Roberts, second place here this evening. Second straight top five. Going to keep him up there in the point standings. Who knows? Might be the new points leader going into next week. We'll be double checking on those points in just a few moments. But congratulations on the great run there, Ken. Maybe next week we see you get that one position better as you look to keep this consistent start going.
Yeah, hope so. And don't forget that Kelly's nickname's the Legend. So let you guys know that.
There we go. All right. Well, Ken
guys.
Roberts, second place here tonight, and let's now see if we can make our way down to Victory Circle and dial up the legend, the coach, Kelly Causey. Kelly, got a copy. It's the guys up here in the broadcast booth.
What's up?
Man, I'll tell you what, first off, congratulations. Great to see you back in Victory Lane. I know it's been quite a winless spell for you as of late, but I want to go back to the decision-making that put you in Victory Lane here tonight. You were in line to get stage points at that halfway point under caution. You made the choice to come to pit road, give up those stage points, led 27 of the final 33 laps, and park it in Victory Lane. Points are great, but now the wins got you locked into the playoffs.
Yeah, I was looking at that and said, you know, I actually was had pit time before that, I guess, on the last one, so I was a little. I'd had to stay out. You know, when I got the black flag, so I had to stay out to get back up to the front, and so I was short gas more than anybody else. So I knew when I went in, I was still going to come out pretty late in it. So I said, well, why don't I just stay out there? I mean, come in and be able to get back to the front, you know, and so it worked out. You know, I went in I think I was in fifth, and when it all settled, I think I was in third. So I think it was the right decision, but I caught some breaks, you know, like I said, you know, the black flag after when I was leading was kind of stupid on a caution, you know, and I really don't even know when I did it, but then after that, like I said, I had to stay out there and be able to get back up to the front because the caution came out, I think, 4 laps later.
Yeah, able to flip the track position with the cautions to get yourself up there to the front of the field. We saw you guys go back green. I think it was with 18 to go, and you know, we were wondering with you guys right on the window, whoever the leader was for the majority of that run, what kind of position they would be in terms of fuel. Fortunately, you ended up getting a caution a couple of laps later to be able to save. But had that caution not come out, do you think you would have had enough to be able to still keep him in the rearview mirror, still be able to lead the entirety of that run, and still have enough power to cross this checkered flag in P1?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. I think it would have been tough. There was when you're out there leading, you know, and because it was borderline, it was kept telling me a splash, and then you know, none. So it was borderline. And to be honest with you, I think if I'd get out there and stayed out the whole time, I really don't know that I would have made it.
Obviously, with the victory here tonight, now you've got yourself locked into the playoffs. So with the rare occasion that we have 9 regular season races, 7 still to go until the playoffs begin. What does this do for your mentality going into the following races, knowing you've already got that victory in your hip pocket?
Well, it means a lot because next week I won't be here. Well, I'm a football coach, and we have our graduation next Thursday night, and so we have to do course duties and all that and be there for the kids. So this definitely was a relief for me in that aspect, because you never know when you take that provisional, it might knock you down a good bit, and then you never know what's going to happen.
Well, a great start to the season for you, Kelly. Back-to-back top 10s. Of course, the victory here tonight and clinching yourself a spot in the postseason for season 68. We'll let you get back to your celebrating here in just a moment, but first we're going to give the legend the opportunity for some victory lane. Thank you, sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, I don't know about the legend, but anyway, yeah, I appreciate you guys and RTG, everything that y'all do here. Y'all do an outstanding job. It's always great to go back and watch and listen to you guys. I actually have put it on in my classroom a time or two, and showed it those guys, and they're very impressed with what y'all do and what we have going on here. But I had the opportunity. Those guys behind me, Ken and Hagley and Pagley and Palmer and Wesley, they decided to stay with me, and so I appreciate that. I think everybody, that we'd had so many cautions, that it kind of been one of them deals where everybody just said we're happy where we're at. But all them guys on my team that we work with a lot, ended up getting there together, and so it was a good race for a line, and so look forward to the next coming weeks. Like I said, I won't be there next week, and hopefully, I think we have these the random blow-ups and stuff like that. It was kind of out of hand tonight, but anyway, great racing over here as usual.
Kelly Causey finally breaks back into victory lane and picks up a checkered flag here. Second race of season 68 of the Talladega Challenge Series. Congratulations once again. We'll look forward to seeing you back on track in a couple of weeks here, Kelly, but welcome to the postseason.
All right. Thank you, bud.
Kelly Causey, your winner here tonight. Chevrolet so far has the stranglehold on the victories. Nofsker last week, Kelly here tonight. Point standings are in. Tim Nofsker with back-to-back top 10s off his victory last week. Brought it home in the 9th position here this evening, so he'll still have the top spot. The only driver with back-to-back top 5s, Kem Roberts right behind him at 15 points in arrears. And then Kelly Causey shoots up 8 spots in the standings with his victory tonight to finish 3rd in the standings heading into next week. We'll talk a little bit more about points here in a minute, Kyle, but how about, what is it about the drivers and either missing a week then coming back the following week to win, or winning just before they're going to be missing a week? It's like they know the situation and they deliver on it.
I'm telling you, it's I thought that would make it even more stressful for somebody in that situation, but some of these guys, they're able to execute it perfectly. We've seen that before with Josh Vitalik here a few seasons back, and now Kelly Causey does it. So, man, these guys are impressive.
Really is impressive. Now, in terms of the point standings, again, as mentioned, good runs elevate you through the point standings. Bad runs drop you in the point standings. On the upside, Craig Hagley, who finished podium here tonight, up 10 positions, up into the playoffs, currently in 7th. Mark Paglia, solid night for him after starting on the pole. Solid run as he brings it home in 4th. He jumped up 11 spots to the 8th position. But on the flip side, we saw Ulysses Sandoval not able to make it on fuel. He drops down close to the cut line, 8 spots lost from 2nd to 10th. And then a couple of drivers, Richard Martin and Graham McDonald, they drop 11 and 10 spots respectively out of a playoff position. If your drivers here that maybe didn't have the best run last week or weren't able to follow up a good run with a good run last week with a good run tonight, does the fact that we have now 7 races left, a full 9-race regular season, allow you to maybe not go into panic mode, since you have a number of races, a number of laps still to be able to get back the points you've lost in the first 2 weeks?
It definitely helps. The extra, what was like 1 extra race this season or 2 extra races?
Yeah, one extra this season. Yep.
Yeah, that definitely adds on to it. And a lot of these guys will be thinking, I don't need to go out and win, but I could afford to have some races to just accumulate points. Go out there and get a good finish. Possibly get a win if you're in a position. But I think that extra race in the regular season definitely helps a lot of these guys.
Well, the season is young. The regular season is young. Still 7 more
not.
opportunities. No, but Dylan is. He always will be. But
Yes, that's true.
But still 7 opportunities for drivers to win their way into the playoffs. And then, of course, as well, top 12 in the standings would get in regardless of a victory or not. So a lot can change between now and when they take the checkered flag in that 9th final regular season race. But for Kelly Causey, he becomes the most recent driver to clinch himself a spot in the postseason, joining the likes of Tim Knopfsker as Kelly takes the checkered flag here tonight. Season continues next Thursday night, folks. If these first 2 races are any indication, you are not going to want to miss it. It'll be on the Tarnation TV and Flatout Racing Network YouTube channels starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do not miss it. Be sure to join us. But for Blaine Donlin, Kyle Matthews, a random Michael Norman here in the booth late, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for spending your Thursday evening with us, folks, as you've been watching the broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network and Tarnation TV.